Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a review of the Gameball Trackball mouse. Massive shout out to Gameball for making this video possible and sending this product out to me. It is an absolutely amazing mouse. Although they did send it to me, this will not affect my review in any way, shape, or form. Real quick, I do want to mention that I did make a video using this mouse last month. I will link it down below. But basically, I 1v1'd the Trackball GOAT himself, Frib, probably the best trackball player in Apex Legends. Dude is an absolute demon. I'm going to link all of his socials down below. If you guys have any questions about the trackball at the end of this video and you want to know more information, I highly recommend going to ask him instead of me in the comments down below, because he will be much more knowledgeable on the trackball, any subject regarding the trackball, than I will, as he's been on the trackball mouse for 10 plus years. So anyways, again, thank you Gameball for making this video possible. I truly do appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get into it. So first of all, what is a trackball mouse? For some reason, a lot of people have no idea what a trackball is. So basically, on a regular mouse, the sensor sits on the bottom and you physically have to move your mouse to get the sensor or the cursor to move around on your screen. Whereas on a trackball mouse, the sensor sits under this fushigi ball thing and the mouse sits stationary, and you physically just move it with the ball with your fingers and the cursor moves all around your screen. Pretty crazy. What makes this trackball better than any other like Amazon level trackball that you'll just find on the internet randomly? Unlike most trackballs, the sensor on this trackball is significantly better. It is up to par with other gaming mouse sensors. So most trackballs are roughly 250 to 500 hertz polling rate, which basically means the cursor is going to be quite choppy, and that's going to result in a lack of smoothness in terms of aiming in video games. Whereas this is up to standard 1K hertz, which means it's going to be much smoother and much more like any other regular gaming mouse in terms of the sensor quality, and it feels very smooth, very responsive. But in gaming, it is quite important to have a good sensor, so that's definitely the most standout thing about this mouse. And moving on from that, the second most standout thing about this is definitely the scroll wheel on this mouse. So a regular mouse's scroll wheel is just a wheel and you just move it up for up and down for down on scroll wheel. Unlike a regular mouse, this mouse has a implementation of a trackpad, or like a PlayStation 4 or 5 controller, the trackpad in the middle, the gamepad. So it's basically like that. It's like a touchpad where you just put your finger on it and you move it up for scroll wheel up and down for scroll wheel down. But it is overall just a really cool, unique feature of the mouse. I don't think it's necessarily better than a regular scroll wheel, but there was a lot of thought that went into it, because realistically, with a trackball sitting on top of the mouse, where are you gonna put a regular scroll wheel? You could put it on the side, but if you're making this mouse for FPS gaming, you're either going to be able to use the scroll wheel on the side or shoot, or if it's on the right side, you're going to be able to ADS or use the scroll wheel. You're not going to be able to do both at the same time, which is very important in an FPS game. So there was definitely a lot of thought that went into this, and quite frankly, it's a lot more responsive and a lot more premium feeling than I expected when I was watching other people do reviews on this mouse, and I'm quite impressed by it. Again, I don't think it's better than a regular scroll wheel, but I am quite impressed with it, and I do think it is quite responsive and quite good for something like Apex Legends. If you guys don't play Apex, the scroll wheel is very important in this game. We use it for a lot of movement techs like tap strafing, bunny hopping, wall bouncing. So talking about the mouse itself, right, it has 6 buttons as any other mouse would. It has 2 on the top on either side, one here, and then it has 2 on the bottom on each side, and then it has a middle small button right in the middle where my finger is. I know my lighting's not too good, so I don't know how well you can see that. But basically, the top 2 buttons for me are left and right click on a regular mouse. The bottom 2 clicks are basically the side buttons on a regular mouse for me, and the middle click on the left is basically scroll wheel click, and on the right it is the DPI button. I'm not a big fan of where the DPI button is placed, as it's very easy to accidentally click that. I do believe there's a way to change what that button function is and actually make that into its own button. I never really looked into that too much, but it's something to think about if you're thinking about getting this mouse and you don't want to accidentally click the DPI. But yeah, basically just like any other mouse, has the same amount of mouse buttons, nothing crazy going on there other than I guess the orientation of the placement. But even then, with a trackball shape like this, a mouse shape like this, it doesn't really feel that awkward or anything. Now I will say the shape for me personally, speaking of awkward, did feel a bit awkward at first, but once I figured out how high I wanted like my palm to sit in order to place my fingers on the trackball aspect of the mouse itself, like the ball, the mouse became very comfortable very quickly. There was a lot of thought that went into the shape. It almost just feels like my hand is hugging the mouse like perfectly around it once you get used to it. I'd say that took about an hour and a half to fully get used to the shape, and it's honestly a very comfortable mouse, right? I do like the shape a lot for this, especially for a bigger mouse. Considering this is a large for my hands, it is very, very comfortable. So the texture on this mouse is kind of like a silicone-y, like rubbery feeling. It's very premium feeling, very grippy. You're not going to find yourself slipping off of it all that much. Yeah, just overall, just a premium feeling mouse, which I really do appreciate, especially considering this mouse is refurbished. There's no chance I would have been able to tell that it was refurbished. They could have just told me it was new and I would have been like, okay. When I think of refurbished products, I think of there's always that one small issue that it comes with, right? They very clearly went through this when they got the mouse back and made sure there was no issues with the mouse before sending it out to somebody else like myself. So I was very impressed. This product does feel just like it's new. So let's go ahead and talk about, would I actually main this mouse or use it every day for FPS gaming? I'm going to go straight up and say I would not, but it's not because it's a trackball mouse. Around 2 to 3 hours into each session that I use this mouse, I would start to feel a very intense pain in the lower portion of my wrist, and it happened every time. I started doing wrist stretches and that didn't really seem to help much, so I didn't actually get to use this mouse as much as I was hoping. I was hoping to get like at least 50 hours on the mouse before I did a review of it, but honestly I made it to like 12 or 15 hours, and I can't go any farther than that just because of the intense wrist pain that I get. But it's 100% a personal issue, and again, I really hope that doesn't discourage you from getting the mouse, but it's not something that I'm going to be able to main long term because of this. Although this is an issue for me, like I said, I do see a lot of potential in a trackball mouse in FPS gaming. There's even a couple advantages of a trackball over a regular mouse as well. One being the range of motion you get. For example, right, you can just keep spinning your mouse to go in any direction you want, whereas on a regular mouse you run out of mouse pad room and you have to physically reset. You do have to reset your fingers on this, but it's very fast. Like, you can make the ball spin while you're resetting, so you can send it and then reset while it's still moving. So you basically get an endless range of motion with it, much like a controller, but it's even better than a controller because like on a regular mouse, you can control how fast you reset, right? Whereas on a controller, you do get that endless range of motion, but you're limited to the speed of your sensitivity. Like, you can only turn at your specific sensitivity. Like a regular mouse, you can just increase the speed that you're turning by spinning the ball faster, which is a very big advantage for games that are high time to kill, like long time to kill games like Apex or the finals or something where there's potentially really long strafes where you're going to have to reset your mouse mid-fight. Or if you get third partied and then you have to instantly turn around and look at the enemy, that's another example of an advantage because you will not have to reset your mouse completely. So another advantage this mouse potentially has, you can make the tiniest little adjustments on this ball mouse that you cannot make on a regular mouse very easily, or on a controller. Almost impossible on a thumbstick, honestly. And you can just make these tiny little micro adjustments, which is absolutely insane for aiming. And you can, if you go watch Frib, you can see him with weapons like the PK or the Wingman, how crazy accurate he is with that sometimes, just because of the little micro adjustments he's able to make. That's not saying that he didn't build up that skill, right? You look at me playing on this mouse and I look like a completely different player than he does, but because he was able to build up that muscle memory and that control over it, he's able to have that advantage and display it as well. I don't necessarily think the trackball is better or worse than a regular mouse, but I think there's a lot of untapped potential a trackball has that we haven't really quite explored yet. And I think overall, I would really enjoy using this mouse for much longer term to give myself a challenge to see if I could get really good at it. Because like I said, I think there's a lot of untapped potential within the trackball community, and we just don't really see many trackballers out there. I hope this video maybe inspires some people to start using a trackball and just have a little bit more uniqueness to their gameplay and make yourself stand out. I think this is a great mouse. Again, I hope me saying that I'm in pain from this mouse doesn't discourage you guys from buying it, as I think it's a great product and definitely worth a try, especially like I said, if you're trying to be unique. Again, Gameball, thank you guys so much for sending me out your product. This is an amazing product. I know you guys are coming out with a thumb ball soon, and I'm really excited to see that, because maybe that potentially doesn't hurt my wrist and could potentially restart my journey into the trackball industry. It's definitely something I'm interested in. If you guys want to see a review on that, let me know down below and I'll try to pick one up in the near future. But hope you guys enjoy it. Drop a like. I love y'all. Peace.